Ahmed and Aaliyah was a Muslim and Iranian family. He worked as an accountant in the Twin Towers. Ahmed had been out all day running errands. Later on that day, when they got home, him and his family was eating dinner and watching the news when he saw an attack that would cause them problems. Ahmed was shocked and didn't know what was going to happen to his job. The next day, Ahmed was called off for work. He was cooking breakfast and he received a phone call from his boss. The phone rang and Ahmed answered. "Hello," said Mr. Ahmed. "Hi, Mr. Ahmed," said Mr. Fraser. "Hi, who's speaking?" "Mr. Fraser, unfortunately I have some bad news." "I heard about the bombings. Everything okay?" said Ahmed. "Not so well, but I'm sorry I have to lay off a couple of employees because of the financial state the company is in," said Mr. Fraser. Ahmed tried to plead and see if he could do anything to keep his job. He knew this would lead him and his family into a major problem. Ahmed was already barely stable with taking care of his family and his housewife, Aaliyah. Ahmed hung up the phone upset and he didn't know what he was going to do or tell his wife. A couple of days later, Ahmed went out looking for a job, but it seemed like everyone would give him funny looks and make jokes about him looking like Osama bin Laden. Ahmed gave up and continued his journey home. Aaliyah sat down with her husband later on that day at dinner and gave him the only thing that came to mind. She said, "Maybe we should go back to Iraq. That's the only way we'll make it out of this and get back on our feet," said Aaliyah. "Well, I do have just enough money to purchase our one-way ticket," said Ahmed. "Maybe we should go purchase them tomorrow." The next day, Ahmed and his family went out to the nearest airport to buy a plane ticket. When they walked in, people began looking at them under-eyed. They were immediately harassed by security guards for no reason. They were sent into a miniature room to be questioned. The security guards were being very feisty because their family looked suspicious due to their appearances. Ahmed had this long and black beard and had a turban on his head. The airport refused to let the family buy any tickets and they were kicked out of the airport. The family and other foreigners who felt discriminated against gathered together and went to the Human Rights Commission office to have a rally. They were tired of holding this in. They stood outside chanting loudly and holding signs. Ahmed and Aaliyah were amazed at how many people actually showed up. The Human Rights Commission office employees looked as if they were surprised and didn't know what was going on. "Will you do anything to help us?" yelled the foreigner. This one employer pulled Ahmed aside. "What is going on?" said the employer. "What do you mean?" said Ahmed. "We are tired of being taunted with and treated as if we did something to this country. Sir, why didn't you make any complaints? We barely knew anything was happening like this." Ahmed and the woman talked about the situation and promised she would do something about it. The next day, the HRCO sent out a public service announcement on the news. "We strongly apologize for any disruptions, if any, were caused during this time." They gave a long speech apologizing and saying they did not notice the discretion going on. The HRCO has offered a check to all unemployed and foreigners who reported complaints. A couple of months later, Ahmed and his family were back to where they started.